The Avengers was a planned video game for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PC, and Wii U. The game would have coincided with 2012's massively successful Marvel film The Avengers. The development of the game started in 2010 at the THQ Studio, Australia. The studio was granted a license by Marvel to create a video game tied to the Avengers movie and comics. Pre-alpha builds of the game would have had players to be given the choice to play as Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, or Thor and play in a single-player campaign with a co-op mode. Players could also switch between the first-person point of view and a third-person point of view. The game was going to follow much of the plot of the Avengers movie and would go through levels that would have included famous scenes from the Battle of New York, Triskelion, the helicarrier, and the inside of an alien mothership. Not all levels were going to be based on the movie, as in one screenshot features Captain America fighting against the Skrull, who was a prominent alien species in the Marvel comics that were not featured in the movie. During the development of the Avengers, THQ was losing money. In February of 2010, THQ started a massive reorganization as financial troubles were looming. With failures like the U-Draw tablet and after spending a great deal of money spent on titles like Homefront, THQ was looking to cut expenses. Financial issues also caused the team's wages at THQ's Australia studio to be cut in half. Despite these cutbacks, this was not enough, and by August 2011, THQ closed down THQ Studio Australia and Blue Tongue Entertainment, both studios who were working on the game. As THQ began to liquidate assets in 2013, no buyers came forward to purchase pre-built assets for the Avengers. On June 1st, 2020, a build from roughly 1 month before the game's cancellation was posted on a gaming preservation website, Obscure Gamers. Shortly after, a YouTuber known as PTop Online uploaded gameplay footage of the Xbox 360 build of the game. The build originates from an Xbox development kit hard drive acquired by Obscure Gamers and released publicly shortly after. Cat Scratch is an American animated television series created by Doug TenNapel. It is a lighthearted adaptation of TenNapel's graphic novel Gear, which is also the name of the cat's monster truck in the show. It aired on both Nickelodeon and Nicktoons in 2005, as well as Nickelodeon UK in 2006. In 2004, Doug TenNapel produced a pilot episode that featured early designs of the cats. A trailer for the pilot was uploaded onto the Slappy Pictures website on May 10, 2006, and TenNapel's own YouTube account on November 12, 2009. Roughly 10 years later, on March 23, 2018, Doug TenNapel uploaded the pilot onto his Vimeo channel. The pilot turned out to be an animation reel that he pitched to Nickelodeon. Cranberry Christmas is a 2008 animated Christmas special based on a 1976 children's book of the same name by Wendy and Harry Devlin. It originally aired as part of ABC's Family 25 Days of Christmas on December 8th. The plot revolves around a frozen cranberry bog that children in a small town skate on during the winter. A man named Cyrus Grape claims ownership of the cranberry bog and won't let the neighborhood children skate on it. And then a young girl named Maggie finds the documents they need to disprove his claim. The special ends with the kids being allowed to skate on the bog again. Despite Cranberry Christmas airing a few times on ABC Family's 2008 run of their 25 Days of Christmas lineup, it hadn't been either aired since or seen a home video release. For a while, all that was known to exist online of the film was ABC's Family trailer for the special as well as a 1.5-minute clip of the special. But on May 17, 2018, Lost Media Wiki user Mr. Orange uploaded his copy of the full special onto his YouTube channel. Cards of Death is a 1986 slasher film directed by actor W.G. Macmillan, his first and only time directing a feature film. It is seen by some as a holy grail of slasher films due to its rarity. Despite the film only being available in English, it was released on VHS exclusively in Japan on Sony's Exciting Video sub-label in 1986 in limited quantities. The gore effects were considered in-your-face and over-the-top, and it's assumed that this is why the film only ever received a commercial release in Japan due to the Japanese market being more accustomed to gore. Cards of Death centers around a cult-like group in LA, spearheaded by a mysterious man known as Hog. The group consisting of males in rubber masks and females in dominatrix gear. They then meet up and are handed a random card from a deck of cards, and a poker-like game would begin. The one holding the death card at the end would be killed. The victims would die in a variety of graphic and sadistic ways, such as a woman being crushed to death in a shrinking room. The person with the winning hand would win money, but would also have to kill the loser within 24 hours, or else both of them would be killed. The police are also involved in the film trying to solve the increasingly frequent murders. About 30 whole years later, on August 25, 2015, an unknown person uploaded a rip of the film on the movie website Woman in Prison Films. Agent Crush is a 2008 puppet film directed by Sean Robinson. It is inspired by the 1965 British series Thunderbirds, even having former designer Mike Trim work on the movie. It was initially intended for a 2008 release, even having a trailer uploaded online, but the movie was indefinitely delayed for unknown reasons. The official website for the film later disappeared. However, its production company, Fantastic Films, still had information pertaining to the movie on their website, confirming that the movie was finished. In a blog post from WordPress user Mike Canix, director Sean Robinson commented that Agent Crush was a great experience for him and that he was trying as hard as he could to get it released. In the same blog post, Clive Banks, who claimed to be an investor for the movie, said that the movie was poorly managed and that Robinson eventually sold the investors down the river by taking expensive loan financing rather than engaging properly with shareholders. For over a decade, the only available content from the film was its trailer and 3 songs from the soundtrack. After years of effort from the director to release it, it was finally made available on Amazon Prime Video sometime in 2019. Crazy House was a 1943 comedy film written by Robert Lees and Frederick Ronaldo, and was released by Universal Studios. It featured comedic duo Olsen and Johnson and was originally released in the USA on October 8, 1943. The film had quite a star-studded cast for the first time, featuring talent such as Shemp Howard, Richard Lane, Alan Jones, and Robert Page, among many others. The film is about stars Ola Olsen and Chick Johnson returning to Hollywood after 3 years on Broadway. But upon visiting Universal Studios, they do not get a warm welcome, as their names alone wreak havoc within the studio, with people screaming in terror. Despite this setback, they see it fit to not give up on returning to the movie scene, as they eventually run into an assistant director from their first film. Olsen and Johnson soon begin to make a film on their own. In 2003, the Trio Network had an event hosted by Quentin Tarantino, where he selected 12 films he liked, with one of them being Crazy House, to be broadcast across several days to celebrate the upcoming release of Kill Bill Volume 1. Crazy House was shown on October 9th at 6 p.m. along with Hi Diddle Diddle after it. Finally, on July 7th, 2018, user Tropes Are Dangerous uploaded a copy of the film onto YouTube under the username The Boss. However, Content ID almost immediately blocked it, and it is luckily now preserved on the Internet Archive. Created and originally screened in 1998 as a part of Nickelodeon's Short Films by Short People series was Attack of the Giant Vulture. The 2-minute short was aired quite frequently from 1998 up until the early 2000s, after which it fell into obscurity. Despite the short's intended comical nature, many people report being particularly frightened by the short during their childhood. The short sees a group of young girls being chased around Chinatown, New York by a giant vulture, who constantly attempts to eat them. When one of the girls is backed into a corner, the protagonist reverses the situation by defeathering, capturing, and ultimately cooking the vulture. For a time, the only method of viewing the short for the average person was traveling to the Paley Center for Media in California, who had a copy as part of their Nickelodeon's Creative Lab comp reel. In addition to this, a promo for Short Films by Short People appeared on YouTube in March of 2012. Containing a few seconds of footage from the short and giving viewers a glimpse of the cooked vulture. It wasn't until February of 2013 that the short was made widely and easily viewable. Courtesy of MySpleen user Snowpeck, who upon discovering how sought after the short was, ripped and uploaded a copy of the first ever Short Films by Short People Film Festival, having recorded it during a 1999 airing. Not only was the short itself included, but there were also 2 short making of featurettes before and after it, giving insight into its creation and the children who worked on it. Both the short itself and the making of featurettes were shortly made available on YouTube.